Denver Broncos. Well, we got the 1 point in if you're chasing in-game kicker props. You got the one for Lutz because a touchdown was scored. Cortland Sutton, courtesy of a Bo Nix pass, and so the Broncos. We've been talking about Denver. Minus 2.5, minus 1.5. Well, now Denver is back in front, 16-13, and on the live line here, guys, Denver is now back to minus 4.5. Scott, I'll start with you. Is the expectation, and we are still very early in half number two, 10 minutes and change to go in the third quarter, but is this where Denver gets hot? Is this where the Broncos start to put it together and roll the rest of the game, or do the Raiders stay in this?
Yeah, it might. Honestly, it might. Because I was surprised they were making Denver a favorite the whole time. Even though they were trailing most of that first half, and not that the Raiders dominated the first half, but they were in control the whole way as far as leading is concerned. And yet it was Denver that was putting the field goals on the board and everything else. And you can't dominate a team realistically for four quarters. So Raiders win the first half. Maybe it's the Broncos win the second half. And it's up to 4.5 as a 3-point favorite. But Gardner Minshew, Raiders got the ball and leading, right? They kick a field goal there just before halftime. They go into halftime, little mojo. They get the ball back to start the second half, and Gardner Minshew throws an awful interception deep in their own territory, leading to the easy, touchdown for Denver. So that was the gift the Raiders got the Broncos. Now we'll see, are the Raiders, what are they made of? They are a 2-8 football team. So, we'll find out. But I still think the Raiders are going to find a way to keep this thing close. I would still, if you don't have a dog in a fight, take them plus the 4.5. I think it's a field goal game at the end.
Joe?
Yeah, with how we've seen these offenses performing out there, I know Bo Nix did just throw a beautiful pass into the end zone to Cortland Sutton, but I hear you, Scott. It should be a field goal style game. I just don't know if I can get there with that mistake by Gardner Minshew. If he does that again, and I'm already ready to jump back on another interception by him in this game because he makes those mistakes. And when he gets stressed, he gets erratic out there. And that's when we see these interceptions. When he came out on that drive, though, he wasn't under that pressure. He looked like he was going to be able to move the ball down the field and the Raiders would put points on the board to open up this third quarter. And it just didn't happen. So I think now that he's already thrown that pick, the floodgates will open for another one to be thrown in this. I'm going to go back in on Gardner Minshew for the anytime interception again. He's already got one, so the 2+ interceptions at plus 188 right now on the board. If you didn't jump in on Bo Nix before, it is anytime interception at plus 280. We know he's done it as well, but I'm less inclined to jump back in on that one because I already hit it before Adam.
The Packers are still leading by 10, obviously. It's very early in the third quarter, only a couple minutes in. Niners do have the ball first to begin the quarter, though, and you're still looking at a minus 10.5 point spread. We mentioned, and Joe, I'll kick it back to you. You invested, I believe you said, when it was 12.5. I'm sure you still like that play, but how do you feel about 10.5? Is this a spot that's worthy of an investment right now? And as I say that, it has moved to 9.5 because the Niners just picked up a big first down, got to midfield.
Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting. I think this one probably finishes within one score. So I would grab it at plus 9.5 for the 49ers. They've gone into the locker room and this team absolutely knows their season is on the line. They have to come out and get something done versus the Packers. I still can't see them pulling off that win. If you do believe in them to get the win, it's plus 560, but I don't believe so. I think the Green Bay Packers will answer back after the 49ers finish up this drive. And I think this will be a scoring drive for the 49ers. We're going to see that back and forth in the second half. And because that's what I'm really looking at to happen, I love the over 45.5. We're getting plus money to the over 45.5 live right now, Adam. It's coming in at plus 102. What about you, Scott?
I don't have faith in Brandon Allen to go over the 45.5, even though you got 24 already. So that's 4 scores, 3 touchdowns plus, right? They're moving the ball on the ground here, which is nice for McCaffrey. Not that he's getting the carries, but at least they're moving the ball a little bit here on the ground. They got inside Green Bay territory, so maybe it took Brandon Allen a half or so to kind of get himself acclimated to back into a starting lineup in the NFL. But I still got to see it to believe it. I still think Green Bay ends up winning it. I don't think this is going to be a shootout. The Green Bay deep offense is had chances, and for the most part, were successful in the first half. But maybe San Francisco is going to utilize the clock a little bit more, run the ball a little bit more. So I don't like the under per se, but I definitely don't like the over. So I would just be happy with my Green Bay. Give me my 10.5. I think they end up, like I said, winning by double digits. I like the props that we have. So I think we're going to hit those McCaffrey props. So if you have those, I wouldn't throw it away on either Green Bay or San Francisco at this point.
Well, listen, we talked about CMC getting to 35 rushing yards. He's at 15 right now on this first drive of the opening or the second half. And CMC still at 2 for 14 in the air. So need him to double that up and a little bit more, get to 30 basically to hit that for us. But if they're going to move the ball a little bit more efficiently, I'm not worried about them. I agree with you. And Mason is not going to get more work in that running game than CMC is so long as this game is within reach. Because, again, we can't say it enough. The Niners, they are playing for their season. This is pivotal right now for San Francisco.
Are they, though?
We've not talked.
Honestly, are they? I don't think they are. I really don't.
You don't.
Especially if
you don't. Even if they win, they're not going to the playoffs. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't mean that if they lose, they're not. I mean, if Arizona, which is loses to Seattle, they fall to 6-5. San Fran loses, they fall to 5-6. They got 6 games left, and they're 1 back. Even if Arizona were to rally and win, and they have 1 score, no big deal. But so they're 2 back. I don't think that everything is as bleak as you guys are pointing it out.
Well, I guess when I say they're playing for their season, maybe
too.
I mean, maybe I'm overstating it a little bit, but I guess my point is there is an urgency that should exist in this game that is more than just, all right, it's 1 game, not a big deal if we lose. It's not a must win. I won't call it a must win. Mathematically, obviously, it is not literally a must win. But this is a very important game to win for San Francisco. No, they're not done. It's not over if they lose, but it gets that much harder.
It does, but they would be 1 back of Washington. They would be where they were right now or heading into today, with just 1 less game to play with. With Washington losing, Commanders are 7-5 with 5 losses. That's what you go by, right? The loss column at this point. And then San Francisco would have 6. And we got 5 games left. I mean, yes, you want to start winning these games, but, you're going to lose a game with a backup quarterback. I wouldn't take as much out of that is that Brock Purdy was playing today and they lost. Then it would be like this team is really, really. But there's still plenty of football for them to be able to rally and either win the division or get in as a wild card. And I got to tell you, if you're the Detroit Lions, do you want to face the Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Washington Commanders, or San Francisco 49ers in the postseason? I think the Niners would be the last on your list.
Yeah, that definitely would be the last on the list. That spread has moved back to 13.5 now, you guys, as the 49ers tried to go for it on 4th down and weren't able to get it done. So they've given Green Bay back the ball, 1st and 10 on their own 39-yard line. We'll see if the Packers can capitalize on this drive, Adam.
Bold decision, but I respect it. You're down by 10. Don't screw around. See if you can make some noise there at Lambeau. So again, we got a 10-point game there. Denver up by 3 at Vegas, and the Seahawks 7.3 or a 7-3 lead, in Seattle at home against Arizona. Cardinals with the ball.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on Sports Grid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Tom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on Sports Grid.
So we keep talking about how these games are playing out, and obviously their spreads and live betting opportunities. We haven't really talked totals in a little bit, especially with one as low as what we have in Arizona and Seattle at this moment. Joe and Scott. Joe, start with you here. Top of the third, right? Early third quarter in this game, and Arizona back with the ball, trailing 7-3 to the Seahawks, but a total that is now 29.5. This thing has been plummeting over the course of the game. We have only 10 points through the two quarters so far. Any chance this picks up to the point where you would invest in 30 plus, or is it so low you just want to stay away because you don't think we're quite going to get there, but you're afraid to bet the under?
Ooh, yeah, I don't know, because even like a 17-12 game keeps us under that total of 30.5, and we can see it going that way. It's playing out that way for sure. We got Kyler Murray out here. He's gone 12 of 19 attempts for only 128 yards. This team on the grounds only put up a total of 28 yards altogether, and this is a team that's normally able to really move the ball on the ground. The defense here of the Seattle Seahawks has done a nice job at stopping those attempts, and when we look at Geno Smith, 13 of 18 for 159 yards. They've also not been able to run this ball. Only 29 yards, those all coming by Kenneth Walker out there. Kenneth Walker putting up 29 yards. So I'm looking at this one going, Adam, I just don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I think the first team to 17 gets the win in this game. I know there's a lot of time left on the clock. I hate betting unders when it's so low, but I just can't see it going over the total. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I would say that, but then I'll remind everyone of the Dallas-Washington game today, right? Similar situation. It was 9-3, mid to late third quarter. So what do we have, 12 points? And we ended up with 60, so you never know. As we always say, when you bet these over under, you're never out of it when you bet the over. You're just never. So I always, am inclined to bet the over there. Kind of weird this game. Both these head coaches want to prove that their quarterbacks are really good when the whole world knows both are mediocre. They've run, you said it, Joe, but combined 64 yards, and they just tacked on a few more for Arizona. Otherwise, it was going to be a combined less than 60 for both. And more importantly, Seattle's only run the ball. Well, they've tried at least 14 times, whereas Arizona really hasn't. They've only run a couple of times. Murray's thrown the ball 20 times with very little success, 146 yards. and producing obviously just the 3 points. So it's kind of a weird game. I had inclinations of over. I'm going to lean towards that. Maybe you get a fluky touchdown, a turnover that leads to a short field, but 27.5. And you have, well over half of the third quarter. You have 10 points. You're kind of on an overtime score. There's no crazy numbers there. Maybe 17-17, gets you to over. Well, that would be 34 anyway. I mean, I'm saying we get to 28 points. I like the over a lot.
Cardinals 4th and 1 at the Seattle 40. You think they're going for it? You think they're kicking? It'd be a long field goal, obviously. I can't imagine they're punting. That would be third on my list. What do they do here?
Yeah, I think they go for 4th and 1, even though they haven't run the ball that much. But I say they run it and go for it, Joe. What about you?
Yeah, they have to, right? Their third down conversion rate hasn't been strong so far in this game. I just saw that they're 2 of 8, but I think they have to take the opportunity here to be able to get it done, and I don't think they got it. It looks like from what I saw, he didn't make it past the line with Seattle's defense coming up with a huge stop. So wait for the official call here, you guys, but I don't think they were able to get it done. Are you guys seeing anything different?
I haven't seen a turnover on the books just yet. Turnover on downs. At the moment, still showing Arizona's ball with that 4th and 1 on the Seattle 40 and plus 2.5 for the Cardinals. But let you know, obviously, if it does move to the Seattle side, and now it's locked up, so obviously it's updating wherever things do stand here in the moment. But it would be a huge change of possession here against the Cardinals when you're down by 4 points. I realize a field goal doesn't quite get you there, but it tempting. It depends on obviously the faith you have in your kicker. But these guys are hitting 55, 60 yarders with ease this year. It feels like it's the chip shots that guys are having trouble with.
He pulled the he pulled the Greg Schiano here. They tried a 4th down pass, 4th and 1, right? They did try to run on 3rd and 1. They didn't get it. That's the play you probably saw, Joe.
Yeah.
So then they tried to throw it on 4th down, incompletion, but Seattle called a timeout, which is why things are locked. So instead of having to be Seattle ball, just like with Rutgers yesterday, if you watch that game, don't get me started. They get another crack at this thing after the timeout. So it'll be Arizona. Maybe they'll elect to do something differently, as Illinois did yesterday.
Yeah, we're seeing Seattle run away with it, you guys. Seattle defensive touchdown. Is that what we just saw?
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing on my TV. Was that a fumble? I just saw the touchdown. Was it a fumble, Joe, or an interception?
I believe from how Kyler Murray's hanging his head, it was an interception. So not completely positive out there. Going to get the replay right away. All of a sudden, I just saw them running like crazy with the ball. So, interception.
So, it was pick 6. So I guess the Seattle timeout worked in their favor.
Yeah. There you go.
Turn that into points in a hurry.
Oh, wow.
So Murray, first blemish of the day.
Right? Who was kind of throwing it to you guys? Right? He wasn't throwing it to his guy.
Well, no, what happened, Joe, from seeing it just now, it looked like it was a Murray roll. Well, it was. It was a Murray rollout to his right. I think it was a designed run play. He realized he wasn't going to get it, and he just kind of flipped it forward because there was an Arizona player in front of him. He flipped it too far. Seattle guy caught it and went down the sidelines for a touchdown. So, 4th and 1, I get it. You tried 3rd and 1. I'm not going to yell on the screen because they did try 3rd and 1 with James Conner. They didn't get it, but you got 4th and a yard, less than a yard. You got James Conner, one of the best running backs in the NFL, right? And you're going to, fool around with a Kyler Murray running to his right. Just run the ball.
Meanwhile, Christian McCaffrey, 9 for 29 rushing. So 6 more yards, cashes that in-game over that we were talking about. It's still 6 minutes to go, third quarter, Niners ball and driving as well. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets those yards on this drive. Talk about sweat-free if that comes to fruition, obviously. We'll continue to update you on these games that are happening right now. Circle back, look back on some of the games that happened earlier, and soon enough, a Sunday night football preview, Eagles-Rams with Brady Cannon.
guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like and be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Back with Joe and Scott. I am Adam. It's in-game live pro football game day here on Sports Grid. If you're watching across Sports Grid TV or listening on Sirius XM channel 159, Sports Grid Radio, we thank you so much for tuning in. We've got you for about another hour and a half talking through today's NFL action, including what has come before this show, games in progress, looking for live betting opportunities. Sweats are on across a few of these games. And, of course, we will preview Sunday Night Football coming up in about an hour. Brady Cannon is going to join us. You know Brady, if you are a Sports Grid viewer and listener, I don't need to break down his bio for you. Looking back at some of what happened earlier, Chiefs, Panthers, Kansas City did what good teams do, which is win, survive, not always pretty. This one was a lot uglier than probably it should have been, and certainly that the public felt it would be. The Chiefs were laying double figures in this one, and a lot of people expected them to get the cover, and not even close, ultimately. I mean, it was for a while toward getting that cover, but, you know, the Panthers, they just would not go away, guys. It was a 30-27 final, a game that, honestly, Carolina had an opportunity late to, you know, try and come back and steal this game. But it was, you know, at one point it was 20-9 at the break. Even before that, I think it was 20-3. And so the Chiefs, they were really rolling, and didn't seem like the Panthers were going to put up any sort of fight. They did. Bryce Young, to his credit, 263 passing and a touchdown. Hubbard went for 58 to score on the ground. Moore, excellent, 6 for 81 receiving. He had a touchdown. David Moore, not DJ Moore, the former Carolina Panther, obviously. Noah Gray and Travis Kelce. It was a tight end show for the Chiefs. They combined for 10 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of those coming from Noah Gray, of all people. Hopkins got in the end zone, balanced rushing attack. Mostly it was Kareem Hunt, 16 for 68 in what was probably kind of a last hurrah for him in terms of impactful playing time, because Isaiah Pacheco was expected to play today. At least earlier in the week, didn't. And so I suspect that we will see him next week. But the Chiefs, they improved to 10-1, which is important. You know, this was kind of, Scott, the free square on the schedule in a lot of people's minds. There was no way Kansas City wasn't going to win this game. But now it gives them just a little bit more. They needed this one to start to create a little bit of separation against the team they lost to, the Bills, last week, who have a bye this week.
Yeah, it's a weird game. Just an absolute weird game. And this is one of those that you said you penciled it in as a Kansas City win. I'm sitting Adam and Joe at under 5.5 Carolina win total. So I thought for sure, okay, I don't have to worry about this one, right? And you really didn't if you watched the game. Kansas City scores a touchdown on its first possession. A touchdown Green Bay, by the way, Josh Jacobs. And you think, okay, it's going to be a blowout. It's 10-3 after one. It's 20-6. They had a field goal to make it 20-9. At halftime, Kansas City leading by 11. You're worried about laying to 10.5. They open up, Carolina does with a touchdown, but the Chiefs answer right back, go down the field. They score a touchdown, leads back up to 11, 27-16. You're coasting heading into the fourth quarter. And then like a blink of an eye, all of a sudden we got a tie game because they scored a field goal, and you still think you're in control, but you're not because it's 8 points. It's one score. And the vaunted Kansas City defense let them down. They let Carolina move down the field final couple of minutes and score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion to tie the game at 27. And in the game in which you were thinking about covering, now all of a sudden you might lose outright. But, it's Kansas City. It's Patrick Mahomes. Fifth game this season that Kansas City has won on the final play. Or fifth game decided. They lost. But fifth game decided on the final play. They found a way to win. They don't get the cover. But you know what? Good teams find ways to win games that didn't play particularly well. 30-27, Joe.
Yeah, you've got to be pretty impressed with what you did see out of Bryce Young with his arm today. I didn't expect his arm to look so strong, and hats off to him. And then you also look at the defense. You look at Kansas City's offensive line. They allowed Patrick Mahomes to be sacked 5 times. They allowed that pressure on him all day long as well. So the Carolina Panthers came out nice and strong on the defensive side of the ball as well. So I was impressed by that. They only allowed Bryce Young to be sacked twice, which is a really good thing for him out there behind that offensive line, because we know that offensive line has been weak up the middle. So yeah, 2 sacks on 14 attempts there, only by KC. That defense needs to step up in the next game.
Josh Jacobs, another touchdown, his second of the game. The Packers go up 24-7 at home against the Niners. This one still has 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. But if you want to invest in San Francisco, it is now plus 16.5 on the live line. We'll be back to tell you more about what is happening across the NFL.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, Only on Sports Grid.
Three games going on right now across the NFL. Sunday Night Football on the way in less than a couple hours. The Niners back with the ball, but trailing big at Green Bay, 24-7. Though the Niners looking like they're already moving quite a bit here, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like they are inside Green Bay territory. Matter of fact, at the Green Bay 31 already. Unfortunately for any in-game prop betting we discussed, CMC not a part of it. Actually, George Kittle up to 6 for 82 in this one. Brandon Allen is at 168 passing. Juwan Jennings 4 for 37, so he's starting to lean in on a couple of guys. We'll see if McCaffrey, there we go, short run, 10 for 32. Again, the live number that we told you to hit earlier was sitting at 34.5, so he is just a few yards away from that. And 3rd and 7 at the Green Bay 30 for the Niners. So they are obviously in field goal range. Not that that does a lot for them. They want a touchdown here to try and trim this deficit to, again, 10 points after allowing that touchdown, that second of the day by Josh Jacobs a few moments ago. Seahawks 10-point lead and with the ball at home against the Cardinals. Important game for both these teams, trying to qualify for a playoff spot, trying to, win a wide open NFC West in general. Third quarter, still about 3 minutes to go, and the Broncos, how about this? There's your field goal. There, Cash Will Lutz. Joe, if you played the in-game Will Lutz number, there's your field goal and the touchdown before that. You got your 4 points. 19-13 at the Raiders, early fourth quarter, Joe.
Those kicker props, exactly where it's at, you guys. Something we need to circle more on this show and in our betting, because I tell you, these kickers have been clutch for us this season. I know one bet Gabe Morency's been playing, which I keep forgetting to look at, is that longest field goal attempt. So, and to the over, and he's been cashing those. We know this season has been the season of those kickers getting those long field goals on the board. So definitely another market if you need another market to bet, something to look at. But nice to see. Let's be able to get us over that 12.5. We had to lay some juice, but it was worth it. Hey, Scott?
Yeah, and that's been one of Gabe's all-time favorite bets. I worked with him many moons ago here at Sports Grid, right? And he has always played that bet. So you're right, Joe. With all these 50-plus yard field goals going down, that no doubt he's having a pretty good year with that. So San Fran did kick the field goal, 24-10. But that one was a pretty good one, because they had the 3 field goals in the first half. And I think a lot of these props are based on, all right, what are your expectations going in? Is the guy really going to have 5 field goals? So they make it 4, thinking, all right, might get 1 more, and then you'll get a touchdown. But, you need 2 field goals to give you 5 to really go over the number. And lo and behold, they got 1. They got the extra point. So with the TD, so you got it. That's not a bad little prop.
No, it's a great look out of Joe. We don't, like she said, we don't talk about in-game kicker props or kicker props in general all that often. So that was a hell of a look. The Niners with that field goal, as Scott mentioned, I said it doesn't do a lot in that. Obviously, you'd rather, get the 7 and cut it to 10. But what it does achieve, obviously, is now it is a 2-score game once again. It is 24-10 as opposed to 24-7. So we still have an entire fourth quarter. We also have a couple minutes remaining in the third quarter. Still, I shouldn't say still. We've seen a little bit of movement now. It was the Niners plus 16.5, and now it is plus 14.5. Joe, with that, the Niners are starting to show they're not going to go down quietly anyway. It's just, do they have enough to manufacture a close game by the end?
The books really aren't thinking so that they could at least pull off that upset, because it's plus 1,800. 14.5 is now that spread, and I did jump on it at plus 12.5 for the 49ers, expecting this momentum in the second half. With that field goal, though, I would have loved to see them be able to convert the touchdown on that play. I think it was pivotal that they did get a touchdown. And yes, they brought it within 2 scores. So they could easily, defense could step up. But we know Nick Bosa's still out of this lineup, you guys, for today's game, something we really haven't talked about. And he's pivotal to the defense here. And that's why I've really been leaning on this one, going over the total, because as soon as the Packers get the ball back here, I think the Packers will answer back. And if they answer back, the 49ers are just in that much of a bigger hole. So we're going to see the back and forth in this one. 45.5. I know it dropped down to 40.5 at one point when the Packers turned the ball back over to the 49ers. So if you didn't get that sort of number, I would kind of stay off, because we have seen those missed opportunities to put points on the board by both of these teams. But I need the Packers to get over 25.5 points. They have to convert something on this drive, and I think they will. We've got lots of time left in the second half, 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and then the full fourth quarter to go. You guys, I'm leaning on that over 45.5. I really think we'll get there, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you're going to get your 27 points from Green Bay, especially with San Francisco doing what they did, kick a field goal, making a 2-score game, keeping the game somewhat in doubt. There's no taking the foot off the pedal if they go for it and you're up 17 heading into the fourth quarter, right? So I'd be surprised if you didn't get at least 3 more points. I go back to the Christian McCaffrey stuff. I tell you, it's amazing. He only has 2 receptions. He's got the 10 carries, so they are giving him the ball a little bit, but he hasn't really been successful. We're more than likely going to hit that over 34.5, unless he gets shut out the rest of the way. He's got 32, but I still think they're going to throw him the ball. I mean, it doesn't take much to throw him a little swing pass, set up a screen. You want to get this guy in open field. So, his number is not that much, from what it was, when we talked about it at halftime. He has 14. It's down to 23.5. It just did go up. It was 22.5 a second ago. So he can get that in one screen pass. I still like it. Maybe we're throwing bad money on top of bad money. Maybe this is just going to be one of those games where he doesn't do well, guys. But I still think he's going to hit these numbers when everything is said and done.
I feel like, Scott, all I've been doing lately is throwing bad money on top of bad money.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to specifically advise in that respect. But wrong, like I mentioned earlier, off the air, wrong side of variance over the last few days. But hey, it could all turn tonight. It only takes one night to reset the groove, obviously. So the Broncos, they were up by 6, 5.5-point favorites on the live line early fourth quarter, and the Raiders have the ball. They are into Denver territory, 2nd and 13 at the Denver 38. So potentially some points on the way here for Vegas. They won't go down quietly, at least it looks like it right now, although hard-pressed to trust Gardner Minshew really ever, at least this year. And maybe a little bit when he was a Colt last year, but not right now. Seahawks, after that pick six really turned the tide of this game, now back in the red zone. And so what was once upon a time a 3-0 Cardinals lead could get really lopsided in a hurry here. They're at the end of 3. And so start of the fourth at the 18-yard line for Arizona, 3rd and 6 once that game resumes here, Scott. Anything you'd be thinking about with respect to Arizona? The total, by the way, hasn't really moved. Last we were talking about it, 29.5. As we were talking, it dropped to 27.5. Now it's back to 29.5 again. Full quarter left, and we've seen 16 points, possibly with a touchdown on the way.
Yeah, 13-3, and they're driving, right? Delaying 10.5. I tell you, we've had some bad losses, right? Washington at home today against Dallas, and a couple of others stand out. But this is why I said at the beginning of the day, this is Arizona. They're on the cusp of doing something really special. They got a chance to really separate themselves. And I said, is that realistically going to happen with Kyler Murray? No, it is not. And then Kyler Murray is showing why, he's a good quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. They're a decent team. But are they at 2 games above everyone else in that division team? No. And he's showing it. Down 13-3. Offensively, they're doing nothing. Normally I would take the 10.5, but he's 14-23 for 160 yards. He's only scrambled one time. Where's the scrambling Kyler Murray? They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. I would stay away from Arizona. They're a dog team. They're showing their true colors today.
Yeah, they really are. I can't believe they haven't been able to at least get a touchdown on the board today, only able to get that one field goal. And I tell you, it's looking like flag fest out there between the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. Flags keep flying every single time these guys try to make a drive at them.
That Cardinals offense during the 4-game win streak has been excellent, too. Just a no-show today against a not great defense either.
guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Guys, stop me if you've heard this before. Geno Smith intercepted in the end zone. It's just what he does. It's unbelievable. And so the Cardinals, they've got a chance. 13-3, Cardinals getting the ball back here at their own 20. Entire fourth quarter to go. We'll see what Kyler Murray and company can do with it. Again, the offense has been flat today, but very good over the course of the last several weeks. Raiders have kicked a field goal, and so the Broncos lead this one still. Just a 3-point game, though, 19-16. Joe, would you lay 3.5 with Denver with about 9 minutes to go? Again, 3-point game.
Yeah, I would, because I did lay the 5.5 coming into this game, and I still do believe in Denver. I think if Bo Nix has the ball on that last drive, he's proven to us under pressure, he's able to move that ball down the field, something which I don't have faith in Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew has already thrown that interception in this game. I think another one is coming out of him as he plays with stress to finish up this last fourth quarter here. So I'd lay the 3.5 with the Denver Broncos. I trust in this defense to come up with those big stops, stop those third down, fourth down conversions, and come up big. So the TV keeps replaying the Cowboys win over the Washington Commanders, just giving me nightmares all over again, you guys. I don't need to see that win again by the Dallas Cowboys. I lost big with the Washington Commanders today.
Yeah, I think we all did have those, Commanders in either a teaser or money line parlays, right? Just a crazy game as well. So interesting that they got 35 points in that Denver-Vegas game, giving you 41.5, although it is juiced to the over. 19-19, you go to overtime, chances are the game would probably go over, or you get a touchdown, but, with the extra point, the game would go over as well. So not a fan of laying the minus 156, and it has been a field goal game, not a touchdown game, but I think chances are halfway decent. You're going to get at least 6 more or 7 more points in this contest. And you said it, Adam, with Geno. You're up 10. You're in the territory. You're in the red zone of Arizona. Early fourth quarter. You score a touchdown there. You go up 17. Ball game over, right? And he just throw even a field goal. You force Arizona to get 2 touchdowns, and they haven't gotten one yet in 3+ quarters. So, and you throw an interception. This guy is, I don't know if there's a category, a website out there that keeps track of this stuff, but I would have no doubt that he leads the NFL in interceptions in the end zone, when it looks like your team's going to score some points. Man, just a bad pass, too.
I just remember that game that, we were all in the air together, I don't know, however many weeks ago, that game against the Giants that I desperately needed Seattle to win and cover, by the way. And I think Geno was intercepted in the end zone twice in that game alone and had I think 3 turnovers in the red zone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it definitely is. So that game is all locked up, though, you guys. I'm not seeing any lines right now. Arizona has the ball 1st and 10 on Seattle's 45-yard line. What's the chances they're able to turn this into points, capitalize on that turnover here? I don't know. Like you guys said, the Cardinals haven't proven they can get anything done in this game. We've seen the Seahawks defense really step up in this one, and it hasn't been their offensive effort. So we'll see what the Cards can do. What do you think, Adam?
I've kind of lost confidence in Arizona for today. And honestly, for anyone that catches me regularly on the network knows that I'm not a big fan of this Arizona team in general. I just don't even, never mind winning the division. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. That's why I'm so interested in San Francisco, in the Rams in particular. I'm not high on Seattle. I'm not high on Arizona. So I would love to see those other teams potentially squeak in. I don't know if it'll pan out. Obviously, they need to get hot over the final third of the season to make it happen. A Rams win tonight against the Eagles would go a long way. Not so sure that we're going to get that, but we will give you a Sunday night preview of that game against the Eagles coming up in we'll probably start it in about a half hour here. But we're still looking around back at what we've got going on right now, and obviously the games earlier today. But no, it would shock me, I guess, given some of what we've seen today in the NFL, if Arizona was able to muster something together here in the fourth quarter. But would I bet on it? I wouldn't, Scott.
Yeah, neither would I. But they've been given the opportunity, right? Like I said, basically ball game over. They score a touchdown there. And sometimes when you don't capitalize on that opportunity, your defense, which has obviously nothing to do with the offense, right? But the defense is thinking, all right, we won this game. Here we go. And then you got to get thrown out on the field knowing, wow, not only didn't you win the game, you're in a little bit of trouble now. And you just have a natural letdown, even on the defensive side of the ball. So they got it out to around midfield, from their own 20 after the interception in the end zone. Finally putting together a halfway decent drive here. Now it's, to Seattle 40. Field goal is certainly in play. You're down 10. So, yeah.
I'm seeing first and goal. Yeah, they're on Seattle's 9-yard line now. That spread's moved to 3.5. Thinking they're going to convert. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah. Kyler Murray's up to 224 passing, and it's been a great – Harrison's starting to get involved. He has 47 in the air. He's I don't understand – and I'm not blaming him. He's a rookie. I don't understand the way this coaching staff has used him over the course of this year. He's just been non-existent more often than not, with the one big game very early. But Trey McBride has been a reliable resource for Kyler Murray, not only in recent weeks, but definitely today. 10 for 113 on 11 targets. And who knows, maybe a touchdown on the way for him as well. This shaped up on paper as a great spot for McBride, and he is absolutely delivered. But can the Cardinals find a way? Trey Benson, James Conner, like these guys, the run game in general for Arizona has not been a factor whatsoever. Conner's got more receiving yards than he does, rushing yards at this point in time. But, we'll monitor it. Again, 10 for 113 for Trey McBride, and the Cardinals, as noted, close. They're within 10 yards. See if they can finish the job here and not settle for 3. Although even if they had to, that would make it a one-score game at 7 points. And a lot of time left, 11 minutes and change remaining in regulation. Just to quickly check in before we break on the other games. Packers back with the ball, 24-10 lead at home against the Niners. That game early in the fourth. The Broncos with the ball, leading by 3 at Vegas. That game has 5 minutes to go in regulation. We'll be back. We'll continue to take a look at these 3 games and some of the others that we have not quite touched on yet from earlier today.
guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
While the Cardinals sit 3rd and goal at the Seattle 4 and potentially points on the way, 10 minutes to go in regulation in that one, and Arizona trailing 13-3 at Seattle. The Broncos, they just keep putting it on. Bo Nix, baby. Nix to Sutton again. Cortland Sutton, second touchdown of the game, and the Broncos up by 10 at the Raiders, 26-16, 5.5 to go in regulation in Las Vegas in that one. And so, I guess I'll start it with this, Scott. Are we sort of danced around this earlier, but I'll ask it in a more point blank sort of way. Are we taking Bo Nix for granted? Is Bo Nix better than a lot of people thought he was coming into the NFL, and definitely when he got off to a slow start in the opening weeks?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I liked him coming out of college, but I didn't expect the Broncos to be, probably 7-5 after 12 games. That's for darn sure. You mentioned it. There were games where they couldn't throw the ball at all to start the season against Seattle and Pittsburgh. I mean, it was embarrassing. They started 0-2, and they only got a couple of gift scores against Seattle. Then they put basically a goose egg, 6 points on the board against Pittsburgh at home, if you remember. And people are talking about, it's going to be a long year, right? Their over-under was 5.5. Boy, but from that point on, 3, 5, 6, if they win today, they'll be 7-3 from that point. I mean, that's pretty darn good. And you look at their schedule the rest of the way, it's not easy. They got Cleveland and then the Colts after a bye, but then at Chargers, at Cincinnati, and Kansas City. So that's when we'll kind of find, what this Broncos team really is made of. But listen, a halfway decent team. They went toe-to-toe against Kansas City. Nix didn't embarrass himself, thrown for 200 yards that game, had a chance to win it there. So he's been pretty good. You don't hear his name realistically, rookie of the year, right? It's going to be Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. But, we touched on it earlier. That's not a bad little ticket to be holding. If the Commanders continue to slide and Daniels continues to play poorly and Nix continues to play well and the Broncos continue to improve, that's not a bad ticket to be holding.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott, because he's looking great out there. And if you listen to what Sean Payton is saying about him, everyone seems to be taking him for granted, not talking about him in the media, because Sean Payton's coming out and saying how strong and fast his arm can throw that ball straight up the middle. he loves it. He loves what he's seeing out of him. So with a coach like Sean Payton behind him, I really do think Bo Nix has every ability to compete for Rookie of the Year this season now that he's got his feet underneath him. And we know Jaden Daniels not 100% out there with that rib injury. I do love what we've seen out of him, that beautiful Hail Mary pass that he was able to throw a couple of weeks ago, and his ability to move that ball pre that rib injury was fantastic. But Bo Nix is getting hot now. Jaden Daniels having that regression. It's worth a couple dollars on that ticket.
Cardinals decided to settle for the field goal, didn't get overly aggressive when they got to fourth down. Don't blame them. It's one-score game now, 13-6. They are trailing, and still boatload of time left in this one, 10 minutes left in Seattle. So big defensive stop here, and Arizona would be back in business offensively, obviously. See if the Cardinals can do it. We'll keep you posted. A game earlier, we mentioned the Texans falling at home, no less, to the Tennessee Titans. Houston is still, as of this moment, the fourth seed in the AFC because they would win the AFC South and, top four division winners. They are not the team that has the fourth best record. That's another story. Again, 7-5. The division is, far from settled, obviously. I know Indianapolis earlier today with the loss got hammered by Detroit, but sitting 2 games now behind the Texans in the division, and I don't think much of the Titans or Jaguars overall. So it's these 2 teams. I would suspect, I don't think you guys would disagree, but by all means, I would suspect one of them, Houston or Indianapolis, wins the division. The other one misses the playoffs. We're not getting 2 teams here out of this division that are going to be in the postseason. I think it's going to be Houston, and that's really me just kind of doing the math on it. I don't think Indianapolis is going to come all the way back from down 2 games and knock off the Texans. But the Texans this year, I just thought a lot more of them last year, Joe, than I have this year. Injuries have played into it a little bit. Nico Collins was a world beater the first month of the season, got hurt, came back, and now he had a good day today. He wasn't great last week, but had a big touchdown called back. CJ Stroud, though, he has regressed. He looks more like what you would have thought he'd look like as a rookie, and as a rookie looked like a 5-year veteran. So this Texans team at 7-5, I just don't think they're going anywhere, even though they might be going to the playoffs. I'll get your perspective, Joe, and Scott's on the other side as well.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim to make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't. and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Points, points, points. We were only gone for 2 minutes. A Raiders field goal. It is 26-19. So much kicking in that game. My goodness. 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, though. And Denver, up a touchdown still. Will be getting the ball back. And so the Raiders obviously in need of not only a stop, but a quick one. Meanwhile, another touchdown for the Packers. 31-10. Green Bay is leading this one against San Francisco. The Niners, they're dust. It's over. I'm not saying the season. This game is over. 11 minutes still to go, but I don't see them coming back from down 3 touchdowns to, tie this game up the way this Packers defense is playing, but also the offense is humming. But more than that, I mean, Josh Jacobs left this game with an injury. He came back. Just scored his 3rd touchdown. What a day he is having. 26 carries, 106 on the ground, and the 3 TDs. Well, I mentioned we'll talk about the Texans in a second, but just to react to some of what's going on live, obviously, Scott, very impressive showing by the Packers today, and Jacobs in particular.
Yeah, I really thought the San Fran was up against the guys. I really did. This is what I envisioned. I said 31-10, 34-10, 27-10, something goofy like that, right? Maybe San Fran can get an touchdown here, but for all intents and purposes, the game is over. So we got to hope with 11 minutes left that McCaffrey's still going to be part of this thing. And this is where maybe we get our numbers with McCaffrey. The Packer defense up 3 scores, you would think it would be, playing back here a little bit. So not surprised, 20.5. I wouldn't, really touch that one way or the other. Big field goal for the Raiders in that they didn't score a touchdown. You got 3.5 minutes left. Point spread was 5 or 6, depending on your line to start the game. They had 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. They threw 3 times and then elected to kick a field goal, which makes sense. You want to make it a 1-score game, but I wouldn't have killed them knowing I got 6. If they would have went for the touchdown thinking, all right, we're down here. We got to score a touchdown here. But, you do the smart thing. You kick the field goal. You make it a 1-score game. You got your timeouts, and you try and get the ball back. But it would have been nice to get that, touchdown. This way you're covering the numbers. So, but not the case, down 26-19, Joe.
Yeah, we saw the Denver Broncos defense come up big on that, being able to bat down one of those attempts by Gardner Minshew. So holding them to that field goal was pivotal for the Denver Broncos. And of course, they are covering that spread right now. You can't even jump on a live line for the Denver Broncos. The books are giving you a 6.5, but look at the juice, you guys, -310. I still don't ever understand why the books don't just move that line and give you better value there. But we've got 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Here, we just need Bo Nix to get this game into running the ball, move the ball down the field, and don't take those chances here. Don't throw the interception. Don't turn the ball back over to the Las Vegas Raiders. So we'll see if they're able to get that done. The Seattle Seahawks have been scrambling out there. We've seen Geno scrambling. They're 3rd and 8 on their own 32nd yard line. So the Arizona Cardinals defense coming up big right now, trying to get that ball back in their hands. It's interesting to see these games in the last bit of the fourth quarter here, Adam.
Just a huge conversion for Seattle, though. 18-yard pickup, DK Metcalf. So Geno's got Seattle with a 1st down out to midfield. Go ahead, Scott.
How about that? You want to have some fun? You want to take a little gamble here? How about laying the 6.5 with Denver? Right, they're up 7, 6.5 -215, but then you take the Raiders on the money line at +560. If the Raiders aren't kicking any field goals, right? So to me, the Raiders are either going to win, you cash the 560, or they're not scoring a touchdown, you cash the -6.5. The only way you could lose is if the Raiders lose in overtime. They tie it, and then you lose in overtime by 6. There's always risk involved, but I think that's a halfway decent bet. I'm going to lay the 6.5, -215, but then I'm going to take the Raiders on the money line +560. Any kind of luck, the Raiders actually come back and win the football game. I got a feeling they would also go for 2, to tell you the truth, if they actually came back and scored a touchdown. But
what the hell? Season's over. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. 2-8. Why not?
What do you think, Joe?
You're brave, Scott, because if it was me and if I took that, I'd definitely be going to overtime and lose both sides of the bet. So I won't touch it just so I don't stump you on your bets there. But I do think it's interesting, especially if you think it's going to go that way. That total sitting at 45.5 plus 130 to the over is everything just locked up. So not seeing what happened. We're seeing a big run out of the 49ers out there, but he let go of the ball. Christian McCaffrey let go of the ball. Was he down or not is going to be the question, because the Packers recovered that ball out there. We'll see, you guys.
So this is notable for our in-game bets. Now, McCaffrey's still 11 for 31 rushing. Needs 4 or 5 more yards to clear that over, and has the time to do it. We're looking at 10.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But that was a catch and run. And so he third catch, 37 yards. So in that one grab, got your over as far as the passing. Needed him to, I think it was 28.5, 29.5. So he's up to 37. It was a 23-yard reception. But yeah, for the Niners, the killer is that he fumbled the ball away. Green Bay ball up by 21 points. So if you rode live on CMC, good on you. You just made some money. But the Niners, it's not pretty.
Yeah. This has got, and I don't know if they score here, that might be it for McCaffrey, right? I mean, I can hear people yelling and screaming, what's McCaffrey still doing in the game? You're down 4 scores. So
Sure.
you need something big here out of the San Francisco defense. Otherwise, that rushing prop with him. But I said you'd probably get the split. I would have been surprised if you would have lost both. So at least you got the guaranteed one. Now you're kind of playing with house money.
Right. Agree with you there. Raiders are in their own territory, right around the 20, 2nd and 15. A penalty had just moved them back. They are down a touchdown. So obviously, if the Broncos can get a stop here, it's now 3rd and 12. Then, this game will effectively be over. They'll have the 2-minute warning and then, run clock as best they can. Raiders will use whatever timeouts they have remaining to try and slow things down. But game will effectively be over, barring a massive mistake on the part of Denver, and the Broncos will improve to 7-5. But we'll let you know as all of that comes to fruition. The Packers do have the ball at the San Francisco 30, so we might see even more points out of Josh Jacobs and these Packers. Meanwhile, the Seahawks 2nd and 4 at the Arizona 32. So in field goal range, up a touchdown, almost 4 minutes to go in regulation. Somehow, some way, Cardinals need a stop. That somehow, some way, Joe, is usually defined by a Geno Smith interception in the red zone or in the end zone. But we'll see, how this one plays out.
Yeah, and it's bad news for the Raiders here. I'm seeing Gardner Minshew walked off the field here. So I'm not sure who is out under center, but he was absolutely buried there by the Denver
Desmond Ritter,
defense.
stacked and fumbled.
Yeah, he fumbled.
Not good.
Yeah.
Who's
so
out
Broncos
there?
ball.
Yeah.
Desmond Ritter.
Okay. Poor Ritter. That didn't look pretty. He's going to hurt tomorrow.
No doubt about it.
We got one more shot at it. They got 3 timeouts and they got the 2-minute warning. So, theoretically, if you can stop them here, you call your timeouts. Depending on, when you call them, you could get the ball back still with, a good minute 30, minute 40 left, and have one last chance to go down the field and score a touchdown. So, with Desmond Ritter.
Yeah. Faith in Desmond Ritter, you guys? Come on.
What's
Do
that?
we have faith in him? Do we have faith in him? Plus 1,500.
No,
the books
they
don't
got
say
the
Raiders
ball for Raider 19 too. They're going to kick a field
I didn't have
goal.
faith in him as a Falcon. I'm sure as hell not going to have faith in him as a Raider.
Yeah.
No way. We're going to be joined about 15, 20 minutes by Brady Cannon. He'll hop on with us. We'll preview some Sunday Night Football, Eagles, Rams. But we are going to start that preview and pay off the tease, talking Texans a little bit with Scott and Joe when we come back here on Sports.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sports Grid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on Sports Grid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all season long.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on Sports Grid.
Green Bay touchdown, another one for the Packers. No, it was not a rushing score out of Josh Jacobs this time. This time it was a passing touchdown. Jordan Love finding Malik Heath for this one. So these are the types of players that are involved at this stage of the game to make it 37-10 and extra point pending. There's the 38. 38-10. Packers are going to win this one in a romp. We probably, in the final 4 minutes and change, won't see Christian McCaffrey to cash that rushing over, but, you know, who knows? Never say die until the final horn, right? He did, at least, as Scott noted, cash the over on the receiving yards in-game that we talked about, and so that's a plus if you, rode and invested with what we were talking about. So, again, lopsided game. Seattle, meanwhile, has tacked on a field goal, which is important because it makes it a two-possession game. Seattle is up at home against Arizona, 16-6, with less than 2 minutes to go. They are just past the 2-minute warning. And the Broncos, 26-19, continuing to lead and at the 2-minute warning there. But 4th and 9 at the Vegas 16, so presumably more points are on the way, and there's that field goal. Lutz for 33. Field goal fest between the Broncos and the Raiders. My goodness, lots of field goals in this game. Feels like Lutz has all of them, but there are a lot of field goals in that contest, and scoring has picked up, at least in 2 of these games, certainly not Arizona and Seattle. So it's sort of feeling like, Joe, all these games are over at this point, but, never say die, I guess.
Yeah, never say die, but it does look that way, Adam. We've only got 1:56 left for the Arizona Cardinals. So even if they drive down and get that touchdown, like you said, it is now a 1 or 2 point game, or a 2-score game. So they're going to have to get the onside kick, get the field goal, push it to OT. Is this a team I can trust to be able to do so? No. If this was Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, we could see this game come back and the Kansas City Chiefs get the win. But the Arizona Cardinals just are not that team. And they've proven today that against the Seattle Seahawks defense, they're just not able to get things done. So I think that game is in the books, and the 49ers as well. I was really hoping, I had the Packers team total over the 25.5. We know that as cash, but we haven't seen Jordan Love be able to sneak one into the end zone. I was hoping for that, as well as Romeo Doubs to be able to get in the end zone. The only touchdown for the 49ers coming out of George Kittle. So it's been an interesting one here. We have actually seen Brandon Allen be better with his arm than a lot expected. He has thrown for 191 passing yards. His live number is 227.5. Going into this game, it was 205. I need it to get over 205, you guys. It's not looking great, though. I don't know if they'll give him the opportunity to really pass this ball. Even with 4 minutes left, this game's done, Scott.
Yeah, well, it wasn't done, though, as of like 2 minutes ago. I mean, you had two, and you still have one more pretty good betting opportunities that the boys in Vegas, I think, let their pants down. They were giving you the Raiders a moment ago, plus 9.5, plus over 2-1 odds. And they were giving you Arizona, same thing, plus 9.5, plus over 2-1 odds. Well, there's less than 2 minutes left, Scott. Yeah, but that's the perfect spot for the, oh, by the way, touchdown or, oh, by the way, field goal, because a field goal down 10 is in play for both those teams. So you don't even need a touchdown. Unfortunately, now it's off the board, and you could have done the same thing with San Francisco. They were giving you 27.5. They were down 28. Again, over 2.5-1 odds on that. I mean, you bet all three. Chances are pretty good. One of these three dopey teams is going to get an, oh, by the way, touchdown or field goal, right? I mean, so that, I know it sounds weird. You're right. As far as the game, winning and losing is over, probably over, but go tell the Minnesota Vikings and Chicago Bears that. Because the Bears scored the Bears scored twice in the final 2 minutes. Oh, by the way, recovering an onside kick, John Harbaugh. How about that? You actually are allowed to recover an onside kick. So anyway, they're pretty good. Arizona right now, they're giving you 9.5 plus 175. They got it at their own 32. You got over a minute left. I liked it better when there was nearly 2 minutes left when you were getting that, but I still think that's actually a halfway decent little chance, if you will. Not a full unit or anything crazy on it, but we've seen, oh, by the way, touchdowns and field goals all the time.
All right, so I mentioned earlier, and here's the summation for anyone that wasn't tuning in. I don't really believe in the Texans. What about you guys? They are leading the AFC South. They're probably going to make the postseason. But once they get there, do you think they're going to do anything at all, Joe?
It's a hard call. CJ Stroud, like you said, has not looked as good as we did see him last year. His weapon, Tank Dell, last year was fantastic until he went out with that broken leg, and we're just not seeing the connection between those two. And we look at the players they've added and all of his weapons out there, and we're seeing CJ Stroud throw those interceptions. Now, his offensive line could do a better job of holding in front of him, and I think the Houston Texans defense isn't as strong as I would have liked to have seen it come out this season. I don't know. I do think that they can take it. You look at the Indianapolis Colts, so they've been in some tight games. Anthony Richardson, after getting benched, has looked better out there. I know they laid an egg today, but I don't think it's all wrapped up that it's just the Houston Texans. What about you, Scott?
Well, listen, the Texans are winning the division. If you don't think they're going to win the division, I'd be surprised. They got a 2-game lead and they beat the Colts. So right now they hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. So they're not winning the division. I don't think they're going to fall back. But to the answer to the question, as far as you, Adam, as far as do I think they're going to be anything in the postseason? No. You're right, Joe. He has definitely regressed, and we've seen this 1,000 times, right? It's not that he's not going to be a good quarterback or anything, but you have that Cinderella season like you had last year. The entire team. You have a tougher schedule this year. You have a first-place schedule, although either way you were going to play Tennessee, right? But it's just the cumulative effect of playing all these good teams. Their offensive line has been atrocious. He's got 5 interceptions the last 3 games, so he's not played well. So, no. Hey, listen, they'll make the playoffs. They'll win the division, but they look to be a one and done.
Cardinals out to the Seattle 29. Unfortunately, it's feeling a little too late. 16-6 game, Seattle's leading, and there's less than 30 seconds still to go in this one.
Kick the field goal now. Kick the field goal. Do an onside kick. Cover that 9.5 plus odds. Same thing with the Raiders. Sorry.
I'll tell you what. They attempted the field goal, but they missed it.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Ryland from 47 yards. No good. Seattle wins. Seattle wins. Does it at least make you feel better, Scott? You were sharing a brain. They were thinking your wavelength.
Yeah, it really helps my mom.
Yeah, kinda, I guess.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
We are back. This is In-Game Live Pro Football Game Day with Scott and Joe. I'm Adam. Brady Cannon on the way in a little bit. He'll help us with our Sunday Night Football Eagles-Rams preview, and we will start that process without him, though. Give our hosts an opportunity to dive in and offer some of their favorite plays before Brady joins us and gives some of his. But just to update you on what we have in front of us, again, the Seahawks have outlasted the Cardinals, low-scoring affair. Broncos are on their way to a win. They're up 29-19, final 20 seconds in Vegas, and the Packers in commanding fashion, 38-10 with that lead at home against the Niners. San Francisco does have the ball. Doesn't matter. There's less than 2 minutes to go in that contest, and as suspected, we've seen the last of CMC in that game. Sorry to report. I thought I was more confident in him getting that rushing over than I was the receiving over. But like Scott said, at least he got one of them. So we've got Philadelphia at the Rams tonight. A fascinating game in that it's very important for both of these teams, and more so for the Rams, but very important for both these teams. And I hope it is an entertaining game. I am personally invested in Philadelphia. Actually got it at -2.5 before it moved to 3. But it seems pretty universally -3 right now. The total is sitting at 48.5. Joe, we'll start with you. What are your expectations for this contest?
I expect the Rams to come out nice and strong here at home, Adam. I hate to be on the opposite side of you here, but I look at Jalen Hurts in the situation he is in tonight. A road night game here off extended rest just hasn't been a place where I like to bet Jalen Hurts on the road on extended rest in a night game. He's 2-5 against that spread. And when we see him losing those games, or those games of being by an average of 7.7 points. So I do think this is going to be a struggle for him out here. Yes, they have been playing better than the LA Rams, but Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay at home, something's telling me this team can get it done. I'm grabbing the Rams plus the points with a sprinkle here on the money line. We know both of these quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford, have got solid arms. They can make these big explosive plays. When we're looking at that explosiveness, I do think we see that out of Jalen Hurts. He should be able to get that ball nice and deep down the field. And I'm expecting him to really rely on Saquon Barkley on the ground as well. I think they have a great game, but at the end of the day, I think the Rams will get that ball moving as well, and Matthew Stafford will lead this team to a victory. So give me the Rams plus the points, as well as a sprinkle on that money line, as we have seen the Denver Broncos finish it off, winning 29-19, you guys. I thought for sure the Raiders were getting that touchdown and blowing the cover for the Broncos.
You know, I tell you, I wouldn't let these coaches coach their way out of a paper bag. These coaches are just idiots when it comes to game management. I'm sorry. You know, you hate to be that critical, but I'm watching the end of the game here, Joe, and Adam. It's stupid. It's stupid. You got the Raiders down 10, right? They're driving. They got the ball 4th and 1. They just completed an 8-9-yard pass or so. There's 45 seconds left, and the Raiders have one timeout, and the throw is in the middle of the field. What do you think the Raiders do? You know, do they call a timeout? You can't spike the ball. They weren't that stupid. So they don't call a timeout. They don't run their field goal unit on the field. They throw a pass. Okay, it's completed, but the clock went from 45 all the way down to 18 seconds. All right, so they challenge that it was a touchdown, and it wasn't. And it's ruled down to 1. So you run, okay, you got a timeout, 18 seconds left. Think about it. We got to score twice, right? We got to kick a field goal, then we got to do an onside kick, and then we got to hopefully throw a Hail Mary, right? Do the Raiders do that even? No, they throw the ball twice. Well, they throw the ball once, and then they throw another pass with 10 seconds left. The quarterback is sacked, and there's the end of the game. It's like Antonio Pierce. What are you doing, brother? You know, when you get fired at the end of the year after one season, it's not because you only have 2 wins. It's because you don't know how to run a team. When you make that pass complete with 45 seconds left, 4th down, you got to call a timeout. That's when you call your timeout. And then if you want to go for it on 4th down, great. But you don't let 25, 30 seconds run off the clock when you need 2 scores. It's beyond stupid. I'm telling you, these guys cannot coach their way, Adam and Joe, out of a paper bag. They really can't. I digress. I'm done.
And now that he has that off his chest, he can give us full thoughts on Eagles-Rams, but it's going to have to wait until the other side when we come back. But again, just to take a look again, all things have completed across the NFL today, with the exception of the one game that is yet to kick off, but it will soon. You need to know how to bet it. Eagles at the Rams. We'll discuss. Brady Cannon joins us next.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like and be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome back. In-game live pro football game day here on Sports Grid. Thanks for hanging out. We've got you for about another half hour here. We're going to spend the next couple of segments with our good friend Brady Cannon, who, of course, is my partner on Saturday nights. He is all over the network. What feels like every single day, if you are a loyal viewer or listener. I certainly don't need to introduce the man. You know who he is. We're back. Adam Kaufman, Scott Wetzel, Joe Madden. Brady's here. Let's quad box the thing. There we go. Sunday night football on the way. We're going to break it all down. The Eagles 3-point favorites at the Rams, a total of 48.5. But before we get to that, Brady, what a day it has been across Week 12 in the NFL.
Boy, I mean, Survivor finally got some carnage again with the Washington Commanders going down. I mean, who would have thunk that? 10.5, 11-point favorites. Dan Quinn going up against his former team. Everything. We talked about this on Saturday night. I thought everything was in line for Washington to get right here and take care of Dallas. Not only Dallas covering the spread, I could understand that, but winning outright. And then the fashion that they did so, and the fashion that the Survivor contestants lost with the mixed extra point. Oh, absolutely brutal. That one was tough. I got the Dolphins wrong again. That's 2 weeks in a row that I bet against Miami, and I was wrong again for the second straight week there. Minnesota taken all the way to the wire by Chicago. Seattle, beats Arizona. The Packers, hammering San Francisco. We expected that. But yeah, another week in the NFL. Expect the unexpected, it seems.
Yeah. And also the Texans. How about the Texans, guys? Missing a 28-yard field goal in the final minute. I mean, that's a chippy. Yeah. And they end up losing the game by 5 just because of the safety at the very, very end there.
We're sitting here looking at our contest picks, the Westgate Las Vegas Super Contest and the Circus Sports Million, and we're trying to come up with 5 picks. And I'm like, well, what do you think about the Titans and this? I ended up landing on the Patriots. That's wrong. And we're sitting there kicking around all these teams. Who would have thunk that the Panthers, the Titans, and the Cowboys were the right side? Boy, if I had a crystal ball, man, that would have been nice to be on those 3 sides.
Yeah, definitely would have been nice to be on those 3 sides. Brady, what game in today's action really did shock you out there the most?
Boy, I have to say Dallas. I mean, good for them, I guess. I guess, it's always seemingly a time to bet on a team when they've hit, quote unquote, rock bottom. And that was probably where the Titans were. We were talking about this on Saturday, 1-9 against the spread this year. Okay, that's a perfect time to bet on them. It's got to turn eventually, right? The Cowboys had probably hit rock bottom as well. Nobody was giving them a shot in this game. I would say Dallas, getting a win on the road, that was certainly the biggest shocker. And really the biggest point spread of the day, I believe as well, Joe. And 33 entries in Circus Survivor were pretty shocked. Like I say, what an awful way to go down with a missed extra point. You saw the guy kind of bobble the snap there, and you go, geez. That was so bad. Tough one.
And that was
tough one. I hope those people had a hedge situation. I mean, your inherent value of your ticket in Circus Survivor was now $150,000. I hope they found a way to monetize and didn't walk away empty-handed in that one.
And that was the
second.
Third
pool went down a hell of a lot more now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's his second missed extra point out of. He had 2 in that game today. Right, Cyber.
Right. Just make 50% of your extra points, and we got a tie ball game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. What could be incredible is the game tonight. Again, important matchup. Eagles, did get a little help from the Commanders losing today, creates a little bit of breathing room for them in the division in terms of trying to win the NFC East. Washington was the threat at one point, was the favorite, but the Eagles now standing alone, 7-5 for Washington. The Eagles coming into this game at 8-2, so they could probably breathe, like I said, a little bit easier. The Rams at 5-5. They're trying to qualify for the playoffs, so there will certainly be urgency. They are healthy. That means Stafford, Kupp, Nacua, Williams, the like, and it's a home game. I don't know how big the home field advantage is at SoFi, but it's there. And so when you look at this game, I mentioned this to both Scott and Joe earlier, Brady, and I probably said to you last night, I am invested in Philly, but I can't say I feel that great about it. What's the right side to play here?
I think you're exactly right. It feels like Philadelphia is the right side, but I'm not so sure, man. This one smells kind of funny. And, it started for me at the beginning of the week. I made Philadelphia a 5-point favorite, and they open up 2.5. And I'm like, what? 2.5? It seems like they're a lot better than the Rams. I don't know. When I crunch all the stats, I come out to Philadelphia by better than 8 points. But we've actually seen some movement towards the Rams. Early this morning, I got an email from the folks at BetMGM. And again, this is 8 or 9 hours ago. At BetMGM, 64% of the bets, 64% of the tickets were on the Eagles. 57%, more than half of the handle, the money, is on the Rams. So that kind of tells you something there. We did see the number tick down to 2.5. It went from 2.5 to 3 and then back down to 2.5 at one very sharp book in town, Circa. Now they are back to 3. And I think that's probably just on volume. What the numbers at BetMGM are telling us here, the volume of tickets is on the Eagles, but it seems maybe the money is on the Rams. Also, I found it interesting, Adam, on the total, more than half of the tickets are on the under, and 62%, a large percentage of the money, the handle, is on the over. So you've got some real splits here on both the side and the total. I'm no longer involved in this game because I had a money line parlay that went to shreds with the Commanders losing. I was on the Eagles in a money line parlay situation, and maybe I'm good that I don't have that bet any longer because I'm really not sure about this one, guys. I think the Rams are going to show up. You talk about the lack of home field advantage at SoFi. Both the Charger fans and Rams fans, I think, have been showing up more this year. That there seems to be a better support in that stadium for both Los Angeles teams this season because they're both experiencing quite a bit of success, really. I thought that was a very good win for the Rams last week at New England. Philly looks like a really class act. Now, they're without Devonta Smith. I think that does affect this team. They've really gone on this roll that they're experiencing right now with both of their wide receivers healthy, both A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Now, they'll be going up against the secondary in Los Angeles tonight that I think is young and not very good. I think Philadelphia should be able to have success both through the air and on the ground. Los Angeles not very good defensively in defending the pass or the run. I also think at the same time, they're good enough on offense where they can trade scores with this team. So, we said this on Saturday night, Adam. I think this maybe is the toughest game on the card for me going into the week as far as trying to figure out which side, total, whatever it was that I liked. This was maybe the biggest challenge for me, this game here tonight.
Yeah, Rams win. We have a 3-way tie for first place in the NFC West, and that's what I kind of envision.
San Francisco's in last, right?
Yeah, and
go
San
figure on that
last.
one.
Yeah, well, what are the odds have been on that? How about the easiest bet then? Forget about who's winning, losing, over, under. Who knows? It's a crazy game. How about just a touchdown for Hurts, minus 120, and just walk away? You know what? He's going to score again. He always does.
No doubt about it. The tush push, all of that is in play. I like over his passing yards. I talked about the young and inexperienced and sometimes weak secondary for the Los Angeles Rams. 216.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts. I think this game could turn into a little bit of a shootout. I think you're going to get some points, and I could see Hurts throwing the ball. I think over 216.5 passing yards for Jalen feels like a pretty good bet to roll with, other than everything else, like I say, being a tough nut to crack.
We're only just getting started here with Brady Cannon. We are going to continue on. Sorry, Joe. We'll go to you first when we start the next segment here and continue talking all things Sunday Night Football here on the Rams and the Eagles. It is on the way, an opportunity to make some more money tonight. Who would pass at that? Not me.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Back here with Scott, Joe, and Brady. I am Adam. We're looking ahead to Sunday Night Football, starting to get into the weeds with best bets, player props, all the good stuff. Joe, just before our break, you were getting ready to throw something at Brady. What do you have?
Yeah, Brady, I was going to turn it over to you and look at that prop market. Where are you heavy on tonight, if anywhere, for those props? Who are you looking for those touchdowns? We know you mentioned it with Jalen Hurts, able to maybe get in the end zone. I believe Scott threw that one out. But who else do you think in this game would be able to get in the end zone for us?
Yeah, that was the one I looked at specifically, Joe. Jalen Hurts over his passing yards total of 216.5. I looked at the attempts, and it was around 27.5, I believe. I feel more comfortable with the yardage. I think Philadelphia will be able to run the ball and throw the ball effectively against this Rams defense. So I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball 30 times. I do think he can get to over 216 yards passing. I mentioned that I think there's going to be some points scored in this game. Matthew Stafford, his yards was all the way up to like 280.5. That's getting up there pretty high. Philly's really good. Again, they're very good defensively, period, against the run and the pass. You talk about like Kyron Williams. He's probably a pretty good bet for an anytime touchdown. He's going to be certainly, one of the focal points for this Rams offense when they do get, inside the 10-yard line, goal to go situations. Scott mentioned Jalen Hurts. That makes a lot of sense. I think it's interesting with Devonta Smith out of this game. You're probably going to have a lot of people immediately feel that A.J. Brown is going to go over on attempts, over on targets, over on yardage. I'd be willing to go the other way and maybe take a shot and be contrarian that way and go under on some A.J. Brown stuff, or find another guy. Maybe it's Dallas Goedert. I think it was Adam, you were pointing out on Saturday night on our show that the Rams don't do well defending the tight end. Maybe Goedert is a guy you look to go over on his props. I think the immediate reaction, like I say, Joe, is going to be to A.J. Brown. And I don't like to, in the prop market, I don't like to just follow the masses and go to what is immediately reactionary. I want to try and find something a little bit under the radar, and that could be, somebody other than A.J. Brown getting the lion's share of Jalen Hurts' targets and what have you.
So Dallas Goedert is real quick. Dallas Goedert sitting at 50 plus, but Brady, I love you, which is why I can say this to you. Wherever you saw Matt Stafford at 280 plus, you need to get a different book. Because I'm looking around and Stafford is sitting between 248 and 250 at all the books
Maybe
that I'm
I read
looking
it
at.
wrong.
So
maybe I read it wrong. I looked at FanDuel.
But I don't point it out to be a jerk and correct you. I point it out because obviously at 280, I'm not going near it. But at 250, I like that play a lot. I think he's going to be throwing a good amount in this game, especially if they are behind.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I must have just looked at it long. I was looking at the same screen that I had the time zones mixed up when we were off the air, apparently. 250 sounds a lot more palatable. And again, along those, the way I like to play prop bets, and the most prop bets I ever play is on the Super Bowl, and it's mostly just for fun, funny money stuff, and I might have 30 of them. And it's so I am involved the entire game. There's always something you're rooting for. How many tackles does this guy have? This and that and the other. But I always try and make my prop bets in how I see the game unfolding in my mind's eye. And I think this game is likely to go back and forth, and these two teams will be trading points. I think it has a good chance to go over the total. So if that's the way you're thinking, then Matthew Stafford probably goes over 250.
How about this, Adam? Brady? I know it's kind of weird, but I use this philosophy with the Arizona and Seattle, and I told myself, you know what? I just don't think Seattle, or Arizona rather, is a 7-4 football team. I think they're a 500 team at best. So I took Seattle today. Do you see Philadelphia as a 9-2 football team? I mean, all the issues they've had, and Sirianni and everything else, the backfield, the injuries, they win tonight. They have the second best record in the NFC and, only one game behind Detroit, which we all think is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, is it that simple? Or do you say, you know what, Philadelphia is a 9-2 football team, Scott?
No, I think it's a great point you make, and we kind of touched on it on Saturday in handicapping the Seattle and Arizona game, and I was kind of saying to myself a couple things that I didn't love about Arizona. First of all, they went into the bye week on a 4-game winning streak. You hate to have a pause in your momentum when you're on a roll like that, and I like to bet against those teams when they come out of the bye week, and sure enough, Arizona stubbed their toe in the Pacific Northwest. And I also, at the same time, I was saying, Arizona's pretty good, and I like this team, and I like the direction that they're headed. I like their coach, but do they deserve to be a road favorite? And apparently not. And it's kind of the same thing. Are they really 7-4? Are the Eagles 9-2? I would agree with you. They don't feel like they're that good, Scott. So maybe there's your answer. Maybe it's time to bet the Rams. We were also talking about before we came on air that you really start to have to handicap coaches these days. They make so many time management, clock management, blunders and when to go for 2, when to go for it on 4th down, when to go for a touchdown rather than kick the field goal. You really have to handicap the coaches. Now in this matchup, Sean McVay and Nick Sirianni, I'd prefer McVay. So there's another reason possibly to back the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brady, on Sean McVay. He's the coach that I would trust more so. And I do like the Rams tonight. I think they have every opportunity of pulling off this win here at home at SoFi. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, though, ever since their bye week in week 5, 6-0 against the spread, Brady. So they've been coming out nice and strong. Or 6-0 straight up.
Look who they played, though. Look who they played. Cleveland
that's true.
Browns, New York Giants, Cincinnati, who I don't think is all that great at all. Dallas, they've beaten up on some pretty poor teams. They beat somebody good along the way. I'm not recalling who it is off the top of my head, but this will certainly be a step up in class tonight in Los Angeles.
Looking at some team totals, too. Maybe we can pick on this on the other side. The Eagles, 26.5, and the Rams at 23.5. That is strategic on the part of the books, those two totals, aren't they? My goodness. We'll come on back. Yeah, we'll come back with Scott and Joe Brady. Thank you so much, sir.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on Sports Grid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it'd be like, I can do that. But you can't, and neither can I.
Betting above the rim, only on Sports Grid.
Our thanks to Brady Cannon hopping on for a couple of segments, helping us with our I was about to say Thursday. No. Sunday. We're almost at the end of the week, in week 12. Sunday night football preview. The Eagles and the Rams. There's money to be made, folks. Let's just try and get all the right spots to cash those tickets. I don't know, Scott and Joe, if you would put the team totals in that category. Especially, it really depends on how you feel about the overall game total. There are a lot of people that like the under 48.5, in part because, for one, the Eagles have typically played under games. It's sort of a split decision, if you will, on the Rams front when it comes to over-under on the year. But island games, these primetime games, I know we've seen a fair amount of overs this year, but historically, people like to chase the under with these games. Team totals are falling right in line with kind of tricky numbers if you like unders. If you like overs, they're actually pretty enticing. The Eagles, 26.5. Of course, 27 would be a key number. And the Rams, 23.5. 24 would be a key number. Joe, I'll start with you here. How do you feel about what kind of production we're going to get in this game in general, and which team is more likely to put those points on the board?
Well, because I'm riding with the Rams here, it would have to be the Rams for me. We know the Philadelphia Eagles have been able to get over their team total a lot of the times, and their defense has been holding the opponents and limiting their ability to get these points on the board. I think that changes tonight, and we can see the Rams hit at least 24 points in this game. And Adam, I am going to grab them plus the points and straight up on the money line. I think they have every opportunity to come out nice and strong in this matchup. And with Matt Stafford, nice and healthy out there, with Puka, with Cooper Kupp, I think he has his weapons. Now, I do think they'll have struggles running on the interior here of the Philadelphia Eagles with the strength up the middle. So they're going to have to get to the edges and be able to do so. So I'm going to take Cooper Kupp for his receiving yards over 65.5, as well as the anytime touchdown at plus 150. I'll look at Puka Nacua for his touchdown at plus 165. And then I do have props here for Hurts. I like his longest pass. We know how explosive he can be with his arm, over 36.5. Saquon Barkley for 2+ touchdowns. So I am looking for a lot of points in this one. That coming in at plus 320. And Jalen Hurts for that anytime touchdown, Scott. You called it. Jalen Hurts to get in the end zone seems like just straight money. And Matt Stafford over that 250.5. So that's where I'm going to go with this one. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, listen, you know what? I'll give you some trends here. The trends say under. They really do. Sunday night football games this year, 7-3 under, 38-18 under last 3 years. Monday nights, oddly enough, are overs this year, 10-4, and it's under, predominantly Sunday nights for whatever reason. Rams under 24-15 last 39 home games. Last time we saw the Rams, on national television, they were stinking out to join against the Miami Dolphins a couple of weeks ago. So this opened up at 50.5. It's now down to 48.5. So everyone's betting the under. I'm going to go with the under, and then more than anything else, just give me the Jalen Hurts touchdown. You're getting basically a pick-up minus 120. I'm not a big touchdown scoring prop guy, but the dude scored 9 touchdowns in his last 5 games. I mean, 9 in 5 games. 5 straight games in which he scored a TD. I think the chances are pretty good that he gets at least a touchdown. I don't know what it is, but, they tend to get the ball down to the 1-yard line for whatever reason so many times, and it's an easy TD from there that point out. So if you're only going to play one, as we like to say, give me Jalen Hurts scoring a touchdown minus 120.
Boy, we're, you guys are out there. You're moving lines. Pardon me. I'm looking at FanDuel, and Hurts at minus 125 to score a touchdown. As soon as Joe starts talking about it, minus 130. Just like that. So, you guys are having an impact, obviously, on the field.
That was
this is what I'm saying.
120 2 minutes ago. Yeah.
We say it's smarter to be on Sports Grid for a reason, impacting people's lives out there and their bank accounts, hopefully making them some cash. It's hard to, bet against Hurts, scoring a touchdown. For whatever reason, a friend of mine said this to me, and it's a great line. He's like, there's this invisible tripwire that seems to exist at the Philadelphia 1-yard line, where no matter what, the guy just Barkley or Goddard or Smith or Brown, or they just go down right at the one. Here comes the tush push. And it's a remarkable thing. Saquon Barkley, we have not spent nearly enough time on. I know we don't have a lot of time, but 95.5 is what I'm looking at as his rushing yards total. I'd go over. I'm not saying it's a favorite play, but I like it. And I think it's worth a small play. It's a big number, I realize, but I think Saquon is going to be heavily involved in this game. You want to play the rushing and receiving line, it's even bigger number, obviously, but at least it covers you on 2 ends. So thanks to Brady, thanks to Joe, to Scott, AJ, everybody behind the scenes. I am Adam. We'll do it again next week. In the meantime, happy betting here on Sunday night. More on the grid after.